Like, comment, and subscribe.
Our inheritance is turned to strangers, and our houses to aliens. We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. We are drunk in our water for money, and our wood is sold unto us. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest. We have given our hand to the Masrayan and to the Assyrian to be satisfied with bread. Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we are born their iniquity. Alright, so we're gonna talk about this. We gonna talk about this. Do y'all remember the subject, the Bible verse that I read to y'all a while back? It's been in the book, but we was reading about Jacob and Esau, and you hear a lot of the stuff that people say today. When I was coming up, I used to hear them say dogs and worthless and all type of stuff. But we're gonna get into this. What do you do if your inheritance, if you don't have no inheritance? What do you do if you don't have any inheritance? Now y'all see right here, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 2, the standard version. But let me jump down here. I want to read something for y'all. Now this right here, this is Genesis chapter 26. That's Barashaya 26. Okay? And I'm not finna read this in the lens of King James. Let me read this to you. And there was a famine in the land, beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham, and Yadshak went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. That's the Philistines was Canaanites. And Yahweh appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Masrim, dwell in the land which I shall tell you of. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with you, and will bless you, for unto you and unto your seed, your Zerah, I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swore unto Abraham your father. So we see here with inheritance, you see how it's passed down. It ain't started over every time a child is born. They got to figure out how they finna make it. It was passed down from father to son, and from father to daughter, or from husband, the husband inheritance and all that. So that's why he wanted you to marry within your tribe, because he didn't want some of the. So let's say a sister is born in a Rawaban, a Reubenite, right? And the brother, he's born from the Guni tribe. That's an Israelite tribe. Guni, the Issachar. And let's say he moved to her inheritance, right? Because he don't want to stay in Yabada, right? So he moved to her inheritance. He claimed that, right? He the man. But so he would have to claim it. Rawaban wouldn't have authority over Yashakar. So it would be more expedient that she move where her husband is, and her father's inheritance won't be left to nobody. So y'all see how that happened? So they had to make ways and preparations if something like that was to happen, where the father, if he didn't have no sons left, that the inheritance would belong to, if he had a daughters or whatever, it belonged to the daughter. And then you have some way where they have to birthright, which means somebody from the Reuben. So, but you can't sleep with somebody else old lady. So that's a problem. So he said, marry within your own tribe. That cut out all of that right there, right? That's why when you see Ruth, she said she's leaving her Alahayim and she's going to move over to the Alahayim of Yahweh. Her husband passed away. So she wanted to move to the inheritance of her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law must have been of Yahweh, because when she moved over back to the Alahayim of Yahweh, you see how that happened? Ruth. So when she moved, what was the mother name? Her mother-in-law, I can't remember. But anyway, how that go is that she was a Reubenite. She moved to the inheritance of the Alahayim, because the Alahayim of that part of the land where Ruth was Reuben, not Moab, Reuben. And the Alahayim, which means judges of Rabbabon's land, was Reubenites, not Yahweh. The judges, the captains, the niggas, the Nagusi that was in Yahweh, what they called Weta back in the day, and now they just call Negeer in Acts chapter 13 verse 1. But they moved, when she moved down there to Rabbabon, and moved away from there, she moved to her mother-in-law's house. She married Boaz, right? But Boaz already had an inheritance, just like she left the inheritance she had, right? And when you seen how Dawad was born, you see how the birthright and stuff worked. So they had inheritance, they had country, they had lands of inheritance. So when we see right here, Yahweh was setting Abraham up, go not down into Masrim, that's not our inheritance. And Kimmy, he's saying Yahweh appeared unto him and said, that's how you said in Eve, Kimmy, go not down into Kimmy, dwell in the land which I shall tell you of. So when your daddy tell you to do something, you get up and do it, right? Yahweh said, get up, Abraham, go down to a land I will tell you of. Then he sojourned into this land, and I will be with you, and I will bless you, for unto you, not unto everybody whosoever will in the whole world, not unto whosoever confess with their mouth, but he said unto Abraham, because everybody else had an inheritance, also Abraham's children have an inheritance. Y'all ain't wicked like that right there to just give everybody an inheritance, but the people he say he called out for his own, he don't leave them nothing, right? But when it came down to this religion, that's how the tribe that was dispersed lost everything. But look at this, sojourn in this land, and I will be with you and will bless you, for unto you and unto your seed, your Zerah, I will give all these countries. Now, did he say seeds right there? Because they said that means they were going to give it to Messiah. And it just etch out all of Abraham's Zerah, as if Yahweh ain't blessed Abraham's seed that was going to be like the sand of the seashore with their own country, just like everybody else got their own country. In everybody's country, they got stuff, they got crime and all type of stuff. How come when we do crime, people feel like we don't supposed to have no country? But when everybody else do crime, take over people's country with that statue of Nebuchadnezzar and all that, even down to the iron and the clay, people feel like you ain't got no inheritance, right? We looking for a country that's not built by man's hand. And in the meantime, we're supposed to be trying to live while we in these places. But it seems like everything that's about us, we ain't supposed to never have nothing. We're not supposed to be anything. This is why a lot of people don't want to believe in a lot of these religions that people is pumping. Because if you, only thing you supposed to do is go to church and sit down every Sunday and never have nothing, come back home after you done gave, and you done gave your money to the church that's supposed to go on your rent. We know, right? You gonna wake up, go back to work, and go back to church again. You ain't got nothing for yourself. That's why a lot of people don't believe in these religions, and I don't believe in them either. I don't believe in these religions. I don't believe in now one of them. I believe that if we would do what it say, what the Bible say, then we'll be all right. If we don't do what it say, then we ain't. So we ain't doing what it say. All we do is come online and talk and say what we supposed to do and rehearse to talk about how to build and how to do this, how to do that, and never get nothing done. Sit online, argue and fuss all day, bicker and complain about who said this, who didn't say that, who did this wrong, who didn't do that wrong, but nobody want to come together and build. Shout out to the elder. Link in the bottom of the video. But nobody don't want to do nothing. All we want to do is sit down and complain about what we don't have, but we won't come together and do nothing together. And now remember that movements that came out, NAACP, Black Lives Matter, and all of them raised up all this money and turned around and say, stop complaining, and gave everything away. And then we supposed to sit here and still support them. And they do. Like even Pac said it, they got us looking crazy. We looking bad. Anytime something happen, they want us to forgive. We don't want to do nothing. We just want to forgive. And anytime somebody start saying something that we don't want, that, we say, well, that person done lost their mind. They out of order. So let's stop dealing with them, because they saying that instead of us just keep on talking about what we should do, we should just do it, right? If, like they say, it's how many of us, they say millions of us in this country, well, trillions of us, thousands or however many they say locked up, not locked up, that's a trillion and something, right? If we all trillion us put the money together and put something in there, we can start our own stuff, but we don't want to do that. We just want to keep on working, and all it takes is $1. If a million of us put $1 inside of a construction site, we don't have to give it to nobody. Give it to the construction workers and let them do it. That'll give some people in the community jobs, but we don't want to do that. We just want to keep sitting online, arguing about what we don't have, waiting on people that's showing you 500 years of saying no. That should tell you everything you need to know. If they do it or if they don't, we still have a responsibility to do something ourselves. We need to do better. You know what I mean? I would give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto your father, unto Abraham, your father, right? So he promised, and then he say right here, and I will make your seed to multiply as the stars of the Shemayim, and I will give unto your seed all these countries, and in your seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. So when it say seed, then it say seed right there. When it say in your seed, but he said he gave the seed, the seed that he promised, because every even Sham, all the Sham children had their own lots of inheritance, right? But he talking about these Shemitic people, these Afro-Asiatic people that he told not to go down into Egypt, right? And then it's going on down, they're gonna lead through the families. Yashmael got his lots of inheritance. Everybody did. Then when we got ours, then people used religion to get us out of there. But let's look at this right here. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, so a lot of them wasn't the seed of the promise for this. They was a seed of a promise for their own inheritance. But we was a seed of a promise for our own land of inheritance. Kam was a seed of a promise to his lot of inheritance, which was Masrim, Put, Libya, and I say Libya. I don't want to say that. On down, South Africa, West Africa, whatever they Ham had their own lots, and we had our own lots. That's why when they saw us, we were sojourners. But it was right here, because Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. So when Abraham obeyed and went to go to the land, to take the land that was supposed to be theirs. See, that everybody can't have theirs and yours. So they already had theirs, but they wanted theirs and yours. Expansion, right? But they already had theirs, but they want theirs and yours. So it's like somebody got a huge palace. They got a huge castle and palace and palaces all around. Millions of animals, multitudes of fish, fruits and vegetables and everything they need. Lands stretched so far you can't even see the end of it. But that's not enough. They came and set up inside of Abraham lot of inheritance. Canaan was in there. You see that? The Canaanites was in there, what they'll call today Africans. They was in there. And notice they wasn't drinking no melanin. They wasn't putting on sunscreen or sunblock. Japhet descendants already had done left and went up to the north. The only one that we was dealing with was Naps. That's all we was dealing with after that. We was dealing with straight up Naps. Africans and Afro-Asiatic people. That's all they was dealing with. Shemites and Hamites. That's it. Because Japhet had already done left and went up to his lot of inheritance. I guess Japhet had it right. Japhet went on up and went to his lots of inheritance. He was doing pretty good. But Ham was in there. So they had to get him out of there. And people look at that, oh, that's bad Bible story. But they'll still put their hand over their heart and say, God bless America. And what did they do to the indigenous people when they came down here? What did they do to the indigenous folk that was on the other side of the water? They brought them over here. But we'll still put our hands over our heart and say, y'all bless America. Some of us will get technique-ish with it, and we'll speak it like we straight up from England. Bless America. We'll bless America. But when we look at the Bible, when it's talk about somebody's inheritance, we think that it's not good to bless that, right? And Yahshua dwelled in Gerar. So I guess wherever he dwelt, that was his lot of inheritance. Ham already had it. Do you know how big Ham's inheritance, his real inheritance was? Everybody left, but some Hamitic people stayed. They stayed in the lot of inheritance of Shem. And inside of Shem's inheritance, there are different tribes. They had their own lots. There are some tribes that just travel around in their lots of inheritance. They might travel to another one of their brothers' lots of inheritance. They might travel down through, I'm talking about the Shemitic people. They might, nomadic tribe. They might travel down to people down there, all the way. They might travel to Uganda. They might travel all the way down to past Sudan and all the places. They'll travel all around because they travel, but they have their own country, but they traveling, right? They nomads. But when our people lost our lots of inheritance, we ain't had no place to rest our feet. We was traveling everywhere, and they was using the Bible. So you got to think about it. In order for to take it over, they had to use whatever it was that was the history in order to take it over. You read it in the Bible. They came down there and set up their first colony. Nebuchadnezzar set up his first colony. So they set up their colony in somebody's lots of inheritance. Italy already, that's Rome, and France and them, that's Romans. So people from Italy, France, and all these different places came down and established, that's who that was, came down and established themselves. Because you look on the map, you look at the places that's the coordinations in the scripture, the coordinations in the Quran and all these different books. you'll see that the place that they set up, that the people that came down there was the Italians, the people in France. They came down and set up a colony in what the Bible called Israel. So look at that. So that there it go right there. That's the first colony set up. So in order for them, they had to first push out the first people that was there. When you read the book of Maccabees, who did they first come down there and hit? They first came down there and they hit first they hit Egypt, because they wanted to take away all of the allies away from the people that they really wanted to come at. Then when they came back up after the Egyptian Pharaoh had fled and left, and the only ones that was there left there was the laymen, that's when you start seeing the Arabs on how it is now. So the indigenous Masrim, the indigenous Kemet, they left. So what did they do? Then they came up to the Moors. That's what they call them in history. They came up to the Moors. Then they beat down and destroyed that kingdom. Anybody that didn't submit to them. And they didn't just start there. They started up in Europe first. Remember Alexander the Greek? They started in Europe first, taking over the conquerors. So Alexander the Greek, you could look him up in the history book. He wasn't fake. They found his sarcophagus. So Alexander the Greek, and then he set up 12 rulers, and every place had to pay tribute to Alexander the Greek. That's the Grecian Empire. That's the one that came after Nebuchadnezzar, right? One after another one. Now the Grecians came, then the Romans. Okay, so I got it. The Grecians came, then the Romans. There's a missing piece of history, and it is missing because those people simulate people. They erase people's history, and they try to become those people's history. So that right there, that's a psychological warfare right there. To erase somebody's history and put yourself up as those people. All right. Then after that, then came the Iron Government. That's when Messiah came. So after that, and it's the Grecians now. It's the Goy. It's the Italians, the France and them. How long they been running their empires? So do we think that they just not started in the 1600s? We think they just not started in the 1500s? Well, guess what? They did. Then the Romans came in and they set it up. And then Daniel prophesied about all these. Daniel told about all these. He told the king dream. If Daniel would have been wrong, nobody would be reading the book of Daniel, because the king would have had Daniel killed, along with all of the rest of the people, the Chad. You know who Chad is? Igbo Chad. There's a country right now in Africa called Chad. Igbo Chad, right beside nigger. Igbo Chad, not Niger, nigger, right beside Chad. And guess who named that place nigger? The very people, the language that's translated in the book of Acts, that's the same language that's translated. Nigger in Acts chapter 13, verse 1, they called the people down there in West Africa nigger. You look at the translated, the translators told you how they translated Strong's Concordance. They told you how they translated it. They said nigger because his skin was black. And so that was his name. That was their name. And when you see those hyphens over that, that means that's an additive. That's the translator's notes. So if you take away all those additives, all those people was called niggas. If you take away those hyphens and those italics and all that, all those people was called niggas. Who is the niggas? Come on, family. Who is the niggas? And it came to pass when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, Hamites, Africans, like they say, African soul African, there you go right there, looked out a window and saw, and behold, Yadshak was sporting with Rebekah, his wife. And my granddaddy done say sporting means showing out. So he was looking good with his wife. And Abimelech called Yadshak and said, behold, of a surety she is your wife. And how said you, she is my sister? And Yadshak said unto him, because I said, lest I die for her. And Abimelech said, what is this that you have done unto us? So this man's wife was his wife, right? It wasn't everybody's bed wench, right? Let me go on down. So I want to show y'all Esau real quick. I'm gonna show y'all Esau. Forgot where it was. Hold on. Let me look that up real quick. Esau. All right. It's public domain, so I think it's somewhere in here. Let me see. Esau. A lot of us, we ain't even looking into family albums. No, we don't know what they done changed up your family album, and a lot of us ain't mad about that. We don't feel like nothing that slided us is somebody living inside of your lot of inheritance. And we don't feel slighted. A lot of us don't feel slighted that somebody is enjoying your lots of inheritance while you is living in the countries, not just in North America, just living in countries, putting up with colonism. And now you captives. Check this out. And Esau, how you say his name is Ashau before his name was changed. Ashau. Before it was changed to Edom, Adama. And they say, a lot of the historians say that Esau didn't take nothing from Jacob, right? But I'm going to show you something. Ashau did take something from his brother. Barushayah 25 and 29. Let me make sure I'm on the right one. All right, let's go up here. I'm 2 verse over. Let me see. I have to look it back up. Let me pull it up real quick. So a lot of the historians say Esau ain't take nothing. But Esau did take something from his brother, and I'm finna prove it to you. So the story of Esau, 25:29. All right. There you go. Go on now. I want to get it in the Bible. Come on now. There it is. All right, 25:29. Let me change this from that version because I like the KJV. All right. Pull that over and make sure it's on the screen. All right, it's on the screen. All right, so this what Esau did. And Yiqwaba sought pottage, and Ashal came from the field, and he was faint. And Ashal said unto Yiqwaba, feed me, I pray you. Same red pottage, let's go on down. We go back. Because they not going to say it, but I'm finna say it. All right. So let's see. When he fled, when Ashal fled, and they go Kedar right there. Kedar had his own lots of inheritance. Those are Shemites, and they were black. That's Yashmael children. All right. Duma, I showed y'all the Duma tribe. Remember the Masa tribe, the Masa tribe? The Mishma, Hadar, Timah. All right. And where was they at? And they dwelt in Havilah unto Shur, that is before Kimeh, as they go towards Assyria, and he died in the presence of his brethren. All right, Ishmael, too far down. Let's see. Here you go. And the first came out red all over, and that word there for red is ruddy. It means like the red earth, like the brown earth. Red. And let's go on down. So Ashal was red. He was ruddy, like the earth, brown, and they was twins. Ashal and his brother were two brown babies, but Ashal was covered with a lot of hair. And Yiqwaba wasn't covered with a lot of hair. But they was twins. All right. And it said Rebecca loved Yiqwaba, so Yiqwaba loved his mama. And that's just what Jacob do. They love their mama. All right. And Yiqwaba said, sell me this day your birthright. And even though the birthright was promised to Yiqwaba, Yahweh showed Rebecca a dream. If it wasn't to come, then it would have never happened. All right, so it say right here, Esau sold it. He exchanged it. So let's go to 26. Abimelech, Gerar. All right, that's Yadshak. And going on down. For some reason, they won't show it, and I think I know why, but Esau stole, took the cattle. And I'm going to ask you this question. When I show you what Esau did, Esau took his cattle. That's in verse 6 of 26. Let's go here. Why I say Isaac? Let me see. Esau took the cattle. Esau took the cattle back from Jacob. All right. They say, you got to be careful with AI. Because when you read in the scripture, the reason why Jacob was working for Laban for 7 years is because his brother took all of his dowry away from him. Esau sold his birthright. And so Yiqwaba took what Esau sold, and he had the blessing, and he fled. So if y'all were willing, I'll post that up for y'all, but you got to be careful of that. People think that because people had made a peace pact, that mean that nothing was never taken. But that don't erase the simple fact that the reason why Jacob was working for 7 years for Rachel and he was cheated and given Leah, and then he worked 7 more years and was cheated and was given another woman, given Rachel, is because Jacob stole his brother's birthright. I mean, Esau stole his brother's inheritance back. He stole his inheritance after he sold it. So that's the reason why he had to go through all that right there. Esau stole it. So when you go inside of the scripture and we read about right here about working, how you gonna work when somebody done took your inheritance, right? You a slave. You're a perpetual slave because you don't have your own country. If you don't have your own country, then you always ruled over by somebody else, because you're not living as a sovereign nation anymore. You living like you weren't supposed to never have nothing, like you a monkey, like you just a color, and you living inside of a colony. You're living inside of colonies. Even inside of your country, you're not ruling in there. The scripture already done told you who Israel is in Luke chapter 21, that they would be the ones that would be dispersed into every nation of the earth after Messiah died and resurrected. That the Israelites would be the one that would be dispersed, not whosoever will. Just like whosoever will wasn't given that lot of inheritance. And you need to be redeemed. That's why he said Jeremiah. That's why I want y'all to read Jeremiah 20, 28, and 29, and 27. Read that. It's talking about redemption back in the last day. You being redeemed back in the last day. I'm finna go ahead and end this right here, but I wanted to put this together because the last video I did didn't go through well. And this was the point that I was trying to get to, because when I hear people saying bums, dogs, and all that, talking about so-called black men, I'm putting this out here that black men is in captivity along with so-called black women. And you can either live in the delusion to feel like you're not, or you can either know what it is and walk accordingly. Or you could just pretend like it ain't nothing going on and just do whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, we in the situation we in. So we need this, all this arguing about Jamaica, all this arguing about Haiti, all this arguing about all these different other places. When you know how you got over here, when you know what happened while we was over here, when you know what happened in Africa, when you know what happened in all the different places in Europe, when you know what really happened, and you want to worry about pretending like you don't know what's going on and believe a lie because a lie make you feel. Why do it make us feel better to believe that we the one that's making stuff up, that we the one being late? No, that's delusion. We ain't never get paid reparations. Haiti's still paying reparations right now today. Africa is still paying reparations right now today. You still paying taxes every day. You ain't been released, so you ain't been relieved. You still in the same position. You still governed by the other nations. You're not governed. You're not redeemed. You're not being restored. You're in a perpetual state of servitude. When you go to your job and go to work, that's not to build on your people. That's to go and put tax dollars at the ruler's place. Your job is only to go and work for whatever whatever goals they got set. At the end of the day, we in this position. What can we do while we in this position? Sit down and keep talking about change and never do nothing? That's it, fam. That's all I wanted to say. I want to get off here. I ain't say I know everything, but this made sense to me, and that's what I want to come on here and say. But I'm finna go ahead and let it go right here. Thank you for listening.